Welcome to Global Voices, the official podcast of the Center for Socially Engaged Theatre at the University of Regina.
Good afternoon. My name is Tawa Falabi. Thanks for joining us on another edition of Creative Dialogue at the Center for Social Engaged Theatre at the University of Regina. As we normally do, we'll start by acknowledging where we're dialing in from today. So CSET, of course, which is at the University of Regina, is in Regina. It's on the Treaty 4 territory, the homeland of the Anishinaapic, Dakota, Lakota, and Nakota, and the homeland of the Métis and Métis Nations. I just finished another. I was part of a seminar just some minutes ago, where the speaker, said that an indigenous elder and scholar and researcher and speaker and leader said that they always use the word raving. It means respect, appreciate, value every nation. And so just wanted to offer that as we think about our connection to the land, but most importantly, our connection to the history and to every person that we meet in life. Raven, respect, appreciate, value every nation, whatever that means to us. Today we have representatives that will be speaking to us from two organizations within Saskatchewan. Over the past 4 months, we have been engaging with different organizations within the sector in the province. And today we have Tara Heslip from SaskCulture and Charles Umeh from Creative Saskatchewan. Both of them will be speaking on various things that focus on the organizations where they are working, and I'm going to introduce them shortly. I also want to say that I think that we at the center we're hoping that this series will continue. So we hope that we're trying as much as possible to bring the sector together through these pockets of dialogue and see what's going to emerge out of that. No agenda. The idea is just for us to get the conversation going and then see what partnership or collaboration or things that would emerge from that. So thanks to all of you for being here, and those that will watch this later. And of course, Tara sort of kind of be our binding glue. So thank you, Tara, for helping us set up all of this. We will start with Tara to introduce Tara Lear. Tara Lear Heslip, the community outreach consultant at SaskCulture. Tara Heslip brings a rich educational background in fine arts and interior design to her work as a community outreach consultant with SaskCulture. She lives and works from her home office in Treaty 4 territory in the town currently named Indian Head. As a founding member of her local community arts council, Tara has played a key role in supporting and advancing the arts. She has also served as a founding member and past chair of the Grand Theatre, demonstrating her commitment to providing an accessible place for arts and cultural activity. And currently, she shares her passion for creativity as a high school drama director. So thank you so much for joining us today, Tara. And now go to Charles. Charles Umeh is a program advisor at Creative Saskatchewan, and he supports clients at all stages of the application process for grants in the craft and visual arts, live performing arts, music, digital game development, and book publishing sectors. A gifted storyteller and public speaker on the arts, Charles is an expert when it comes to advising clients on project budgets, how to propel creative entrepreneurs' careers, and maximizing their grant dollars. Charles' experience as a filmmaker and the artistic director at Commonweal Community Arts make him an asset to the team. He holds a certificate in entertainment law from the Osgood Hall Law School of York University and is a chartered business analyst professional. And in his spare time, Charles enjoys watching soccer, playing chess, and volunteering within the arts community. So with that, I'll pass it on to Charles, and then Charles will pass it on to Tara, and then we'll end up on Q&A and then exploration together. So over to you, Charles.
Okay, thank you, Taiwo. Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today to talk a little bit about Creative Saskatchewan. So I'll start with talking about who Creative Saskatchewan is. Creative Saskatchewan is a crown agency under the government of Saskatchewan. We are the economic development agency for Saskatchewan's creative industry, and we are also the Saskatchewan Official Film Commission. Creative Saskatchewan supports six defined creative sectors in Saskatchewan: the film and television sector, craft and visual arts, live performing arts, music, digital game development, and book publishing. Now, when we say that we are the economic development agency for Saskatchewan creative industries, what do we mean by that? So basically, what that means is that our mandate is to strengthen the creative industry as businesses. So we focus on supporting projects and activities that generate revenue and Saskatchewan spend, build organizational and business capacity, and also increase market reach and audience growth. So our focus majorly is on the economic impact and sector growth over time. I think it's worth stating this right now, here now, that we are not, we do not fund art for artistic sake. There are other organizations, I believe, like Sask Arts that do that. And of course, for cultural purposes, you might be talking to SaskCulture. But for us, our mandate is majorly focused on the economic side of the thing. So we want to support creative entrepreneurs, we want to support artists that makes art for the sake of making a living or earning a living from it. Now, we also do support the industry associations. And for the sake of time, I would just focus on the industry association that is related with live performing arts, which is what we're talking about today. So, Creative Saskatchewan supports the Saskatchewan Association of Theatre Professionals, SATP, which is a key sector association for live performing arts in Saskatchewan. We fund their professional development sessions, resources, advocacy work, and member services. And we always encourage all Saskatchewan live performing artists to connect with SATP and make use of the programming and benefits supported through Creative Saskatchewan funding. The funding is there. Reach out to them, connect with them, and make sure it's working for you as a Saskatchewan creative um, person in the live performing arts sector. Now, let me talk a little bit about the other grants that we do have for the sector. So for the live performing arts funding, um, for theater professionals, we have the following programs that benefits the sector. One is a live performing arts production and performance grant. This grant supports the creation, production, and public presentation of live performing arts work intended for paying audiences locally and abroad. Now, that uh, caveat there is very important. So, for you to be eligible for our program, your performance has to be for a paying audience. So, examples of the live performances that we support includes theater, dance, stand-up comedy, magic or illusions, spoken word, stroke poetry, miming, puppetry, circus acts. And we also encourage folks to reach out if they have other um, kind of live performing arts that they are doing and it's not listed here. We, also treat those things as on case by case basis to determine if it fits into our program. Music is not considered live performing arts when it comes to Creative Saskatchewan. I know a lot of other funding agencies do put music as a live performing arts, but we have a whole different program set up for the music sector, so we don't include them as live performing arts. Example of plays that we funded recently, it's Off Guard by Ibukun Olua Fashaon, that was also, I believe, was shown in the university. And we also supported Slugs by So Glad Arts Theaters. Um, We have also another grant that is called the Business Improvement Grant. Now, the Business Improvement Grant supports activities that strengthen the business side of an organization, such as strategic planning, financial systems, or operational upgrades. So basically, the business support grant is was created to help folks develop the business side of their art. So if you're attending a seminar or a workshop that you're going to learn the business aspect of your art, we could support that through the business improvement grant. If you're hiring, um, if you want to, if I need to hire somebody to, you know, help improve the efficiency of a project, a particular project you're doing. So it's not meant for operational purposes. We don't support operational costs, but project by project basis. So if you need to hire somebody to help for a particular project that has a starting and ending time, and you're able to, you know, um, prove a case that this person is going to make your work more efficient, or to buy a technology that would make your works more efficient, then this is the grant you want to look into. Um, Example of people who funded with this grant is Listen to This, Continued Management Development by Tracy Foster. And also we have Scantly Glad Theatre's Business Transition and Creative Expansion grant by So Glad Arts. So these are folks with, there are a couple of others I just, highlighted two from each grant so that, we can relate to them. The next one is the marketing grant. So the marketing grant supports promotional campaigns that grow audience and increase ticket sales or end revenue. And we have two streams, the marketing micro and the marketing major. Now, the marketing micro is capped at 5,000, where the marketing major is capped at about 15,000, I believe so. And the marketing major, it's sector specific, which means that it goes with each sector. So for live performing arts, the deadline for marketing major will be the same deadline with the live performing arts production grant. But the marketing micro cuts across the whole sector, and we have about three deadlines for the year for that one. It has quicker turnaround. It could be used for virtually something. You could use it for your website development, or to hire a marketing person to help with marketing your project, or to pay for like Facebook ads or any other social media marketing that you're doing, or to create marketing materials like posters, or you know um, to advertise your plays or your performances or campaigns. So the idea is anything marketing that would help you generate or increase your ticket sales and revenue could be supported by the marketing grant. And if you're ever in doubt of whether what you want to do or what you intend to do would fit in, always reach out to us. We are always happy to chat with folks to talk through these things and um, ensure that the projects are eligible. Example of projects that we funded under the major one is Meet Annette. Annette is a bimbo. Um, that was performed by the women company. And example of the past recipient of micro marketing is I Have No Idea Marketing. I Have No Idea Marketing by Nathan Coppens. And the last but not the least on the list of the grant programs that we have for the sector is a Showcase or Sell Travel grant. Now, the Showcase or Sell Travel grant supports travel to markets, showcases, or events where work is being sold, taught, or programmed. Now, for this fiscal, this particular grant is on hiatus for the live performing arts sector because we've noticed over the years and through our consultations with the industrial associations that it is not, you know, well used. So instead of just having that fund lying down there, we moved that fund to the live production, live performing arts production grants to, be able to accommodate more folks into accessing that grant. So for this year, it's on hiatus for live performing arts sector. We will look at and see how things goes this year, and by next year we review our programs every year at the end of every fiscal year, and we make changes and updates based on feedbacks from folks and from industry associations and from applicants as well, and also looking at trends of things in the sector. So um, we also do have sponsorship that is not a grant that Creative Saskatchewan also offers to industry folks. This is not a grant, it's just a sponsorship that we do offer. And if you ever want to consider, um, trying to access the sponsorship, you'll be talking to the communication department at Creative Saskatchewan, which will be Megan Foden. If you go to our website, the contact is there. Feel free to reach out to Megan if you ever want to chat about sponsorship or, see what and what it could cover and if it would be a good fit for you and for your projects. So I'm going to talk a little bit about basic eligibility for our programs. The first is that you have to be you have to be a Saskatchewan resident living and working in Saskatchewan and paying tax in Saskatchewan. So part of the requirements is that you would have to be able to submit your past year tax T1. Um, if you've moved in recently and have not filed any tax in Saskatchewan, we also do have accommodations for that. So would be requiring maybe a driver's license or a Saskatchewan ID to prove that you are a Saskatchewan resident and you're living here. Uh, like I said before, the projects that we support are projects with commercial intent. And this means that the goal is to generate revenue, build audiences, or advance sustainable business or organization. And applicants, of course, are typically Saskatchewan-based individuals, companies, or nonprofits, and actively working in one of our supported creative sectors. So, practical application tips. First, always is to take time to go through the guidelines on our website. You know, look at the programs and depending on the project you're trying to embark on, go through the website. Our website is really very, very user friendly. But if you have any questions or concerns or need any guidance, of course, uh, we have the link to book consultations with any of the program advisors on the website there. We're always happy to chat with folks about their program, about their projects, and guide them on how to go about with the applications and becoming successful. We strongly encourage applicants to book a consultation with a program advisor. You know, and also we always encourage folks to be clear about when they are writing their applications, to be clear about the outcomes and impact of the project and the commercial goals, which is very key. Commercial goals, I can't say that any less, but it's very important because we are focused on the commerciality of your project and not necessarily the artistic part of it or you know um, any other reason why you're doing it. For us, it's about the commercial. And it could be, when I say commercial, it doesn't necessarily translate to monetary benefit. It could be audience growth, securing more opportunity to tour the place or the project, revenues, sustainability, you know, um, those are all what we consider return on investment and could be used as a case to, show the profitability of your project. And program timelines and staying informed. So Creative Saskatchewan programs for the 2026-2027 fiscal years have just been announced. Our fiscal year starts in April every year. So it has just been announced and our website is currently live now. So feel free to go through the website, and if you need any other information, please reach out to us. And the best way to stay informed is by signing up for the Creative Saskatchewan newsletter on our website. It's the first place we share our program openings, updates, and deadlines, and it's delivered directly to your inboxes. So please reach out if you have any questions. We're always happy to chat about our programs and to support folks to be able to access it. Okay, and on that note, I would be passing on to Tara.
Thanks, Charles. Over to you, Tara.
Yeah, thank you so much, Charles. It's always great to hear an update from another funder in the province. I have created a bit of a presentation, so I am going to share my screen here. And hopefully everybody can see it now.
Yes.
So to start with, I'll just do that. Who is SaskCulture and what do we do? So SaskCulture is the funding partner with the Sask Lotteries Trust Fund for Sport, Culture, and Recreation. So we oversee the culture portion of that funding. And with that, we fund some provincial organizations directly. There's 30 provincial organizations that we call our eligible cultural organizations. So amongst these are organizations like Sask Drama Association, the Saskatchewan Theatre Association, the Organization of Saskatchewan Arts Councils, etc. And then we also have our own in-house funding programs too. Additionally, we oversee and cover the operations of Creative Kids. And if you've never heard of Creative Kids, I like to say it's the arts and culture version of SaskSport. So for underserved youth, they can access arts and culture classes and receive up to $750 a year to cover those costs. Within our SaskCulture's funding program suite, we have a few different program project streams, as well as a couple of operational streams. So we have a small grant accessibility program, community cultural engagement and planning grant, a museum grant program, that's an operational fund, Indigenous arts and cultural leadership, Métis Cultural Development Fund, Northern Youth, as well as a multicultural initiative fund. And I'm not going to talk about those in depth today because I want to talk more about the overall work that we're doing as an organization around a new strategic direction. But I invite you all to check out our website to learn more about those individual programs. And I'll mention a few here and there as I'm going through today. Additionally, we do have a partnership with Sask Arts. So I would say between Creative Sask, Sask Arts, and SaskCulture, we are the three funding bodies for the province when it comes to arts. Sask Arts tends to focus a lot more on individual artists, and as well as some community work too. And the partnership that we have with Sask Arts, we give them funding to support their artists in schools and artists in communities programs, as well as festivals. And we also contribute to their professional arts organization fund to support art galleries and multimedia organizations. And over the last few years, we've additionally worked with them to create a couple of new participatory grants, one called Share and Connect and the other one called Building Arts Equity. And did you have Sask Arts or have Sask coming to present? Because I'll probably talk a little bit more in depth about those ones if you do have them. So
I don't think we have them in this round, Tara. I don't think we have Sask in this round, but I think the next round they will be coming for sure. We're working on hopefully bringing them forward. But yeah, But go ahead.
Great. So yeah, over the last few years, we've been really looking at whole funding renewal for our organization. And with that, we've taken a significant amount of time and an investment to do some research as well as province-wide consultation. And with this, we've used inclusion, diversity, accessibility, equity, and truth and reconciliation as the lens to oversee this whole renewal. And we heard things that were challenging to hear that highlighted where we're maybe not doing the best work that we could be doing, and that there's still significant support equity denied groups and individuals need to be able to actively participate and produce arts and cultural heritage activity. With that, early research has led us to to some new developments. And as I mentioned, that participatory programs that we developed in partnership with Sask Arts, the Share and Connect and Building Arts Equity, as well as we created our Small Grant Accessibility Fund, which allows non-incorporated grassroots organizations to apply for funding and to get a starting point into that granting world, and hopefully give them that little step to start looking at sustainability and their capacity. And we also have an accessibility fund that very greatly mirrors the one that Sask Arts says in terms of process and procedure. And the accessibility fund is to allow organizations to hire somebody to help them with their grant. So whether they have a barrier with technology or a mental or learning disability or even a language barrier, they can use the accessibility fund to have somebody support them in their grant writing needs. So saying all that, with the whole funding renewal, we really made a solid effort to listen and work with communities before jumping into a solution. And everything that we learned, we have tried to share back with community. And you can find all our reports on our website, and I invite you to take a look. There's some amazing research, some really wonderful comments that community shared. We did use external consultants to do that work because we wanted to ensure that people weren't censored by talking directly to us as a funder, and that power dynamic wasn't at play when they were sharing what wasn't working and what we're missing, as well as, people had great things to share about the work that we're doing too, but it was particularly good for us to hear the things that maybe weren't working. So all of this work that we've done has informed a new strategic plan that we just released a few weeks ago. I, as a staff member, am really excited about our new strategic plan. I think it gives us really solid direction to move forward and to continue to not only create, but renovate our funding programs, as well as to look at our services and resources that we have to support communities, and maybe what more we need to do, what we need to shift, where we need to refocus. With this new strategic plan, we have developed a 5-year vision that highlights trust-based partnerships to advance truth and reconciliation and inclusion, diversity, equity, and accessibility. And the strategic focus of the plan is to help ensure that Saskatchewan people are actively supporting culture, and that the cultural ecosystem as a whole is more accessible, inclusive, and sustainable. We have developed 3 specific strategies, or 3 strategic priority areas. I like to think of them as our pillars moving forward to hold everything up that we do. And these didn't come from just a boardroom exercise. They really were shaped directly from what we heard during our province-wide consultation process, and will inform our work as we move forward. So the first priority area is authentic inclusion, where we heard loud and clear that we need to further invest in equity-denied communities as one of our first priorities. We heard clearly that pathways for these communities to participate in and lead cultural programs need to be advanced and supported, not just as token gestures, but as really genuine decision-making roles where their voices shape the initiatives from the ground up. Look to expand inclusive access by means of broadening how people engage with culture across the province. So creating spaces that truly welcome all voices, and that includes examining our own internal processes, as well as encouraging those who are applying for funding from us to look at that as well. Embedding inclusive leadership and accountability. So taking a hard look at our governance and organizational decisions and ensure that they are reflect community-centered approaches. With transformational capacity, we heard loud and clear that we need to look at future leaders and what are pathways for youth and emerging leaders in the cultural sector. There needs to be a strong pipeline for people to understand this work, and that they're equipped to carry the load moving forward. As we all know, volunteering has changed. So reimagining that volunteer engagement is really critical in our sector, and working within our network to see how we can meet volunteers where they're at. And is there a framework to go with that? Empowering cultural organizations through sustainable capacity building. So we want to look at continuing to support established organizations, but how can we meet and start supporting emerging organizations as well with tools and resources? And champion digital readiness. The virtual sphere and digital technology is continually changing, and how can organizations really look to increase their skills in that area to respond to capacity in the changing environment. And our final priority is trust-based partnerships. So as we move forward, looking at everything that we're doing through a lens of community-led collaboration, and wanting to see how that will shape sector resilience and support community-driven approaches to resource sharing, partnerships, alliances, and maybe even amalgamations where it makes sense. So this one, we're really looking at how to make the sector as a whole more resilient, sustainable, and collaborative. Looking to maximize our impact through strategic funding partnerships, so aligning our funding and resources with other funders in the sector. So we can't do this alone. So of course, we're expecting to have more conversations with Creative Sask and Sask Arts, and even federal funding agencies. And finally, under this one, looking to advance those trust-based relationships and inclusive strategies as a thread that ties everything together. So reciprocal relationships will guide truth and reconciliation, inclusion, diversity, equity, accessibility commitments. We really want to ensure that people don't see us as just checking a box, but that this is how we operate and strive to do everything that we do. So through this whole process, what we've learned, I guess the trust is built in the in-between moments, really stuck with us, stuck with me particularly, that it doesn't, come from some big announcement or formal agreement or those one-off grants, but it comes from continual commitment and follow through. As a program consultant, did we return that call? Were we timely? Did we show up when we said that we would? Are we listening and not just hearing and answering what we think they want to hear versus really what they're asking? Process is part of the outcome. So how we engage matters just as much as what we deliver. Communities told us that even when the end result was good, if the process felt extractive or top down, it undermined the whole relationship. And people remember how they were treated during the process long after the project is done. Local context speaks generic best practices. Of course, we're working with community organizations throughout the entire province, from small little villages, First Nation bands, to northern communities. And what works in Saskatoon is not likely going to work in a northern community, and what works for established organizations isn't going to work or speak to the capacity of grassroots groups who are just getting going. So that adaptation is respect and capacity. I think we all know, whether you are an organization with multiple employees or a volunteer-run organization, capacity considerations are very real, and there are limits to the time that staff volunteers have, as well as resources. And within that, over consultation, especially with equity denied communities, is a real genuine problem. And when there's lots of us, whether it's other funders, other agencies, individuals that are all asking for input at the same time, it creates fatigue and frustration rather than meaningful engagement. So making sure that we're aware of that as we continue to move forward in the work that we're doing. So to kind of next couple of minutes, I want to talk about a specific program and how we're trying to apply this understanding and lens to the work that we're doing. And one of the grant programs that I oversee is the Multicultural Initiative Fund annual funding program. So it is operational fund. There's one stream that's operational funding, and the other one is a program stream. And it has been a multi-year grant program in the past. And it is a program that we understand that we are not meeting the needs. There are ethnocultural organizations, multicultural organizations, other cultural groups such as queer and trans culture or mad and crip culture that really don't see a pathway into our funding programs. And this might be the vehicle that, as we rejig it and renovate it, might be the place for that. We don't have the answers right now because we still need to do more work. But as part of that work, we are partnering with the Multicultural Council of Saskatchewan and going through a pilot program they're doing that is called READY, which stands for Reconciliation, Equity, Anti-Racism, Anti-Oppression, Access, Decolonization, Diversity, Inclusion, Integration. And all that means is it's a project that is looking at EDI through an anti-racist, anti-oppressive lens. And with that work, we're getting staff-wide education, which is terrific because we're getting that shared language amongst each other, and it will ensure that that learning and understanding will not only apply to this particular program, but will spread through the entire organization because it will look at systemic pieces of policy and procedures and what sort of where do we need to apply anti-racist lens, anti-oppressive lens? Where are we not doing good work that is accessible and inviting to people? And additionally, with that, we have been able to connect even further with community organizations too, and learn from them and hear from them, creating, networking opportunities for them where they are starting to learn about each other and what they do and where they intersect. And with that, we're starting to see some organic partnerships forming in the programming that they're doing, which is a really wonderful thing. Which leads me into my next slide when I wanted to talk about the wins a little bit. So yeah, we're seeing that this project or partnership in reviewing our Multicultural Initiative Fund is a great way for us to connect with the Multicultural Council of Saskatchewan at a deeper level and is building a greater bond there. It could lead to a bit more of a strategic partnership as we move forward, as they're closer to communities that are being served by this funding program. And also just that additional consultation and specific one-to-one engagement and with organizations that are currently funded and reaching out to those that aren't funded is allowing us to start developing those relationships and get input. And as we strive to rebuild this program, it will be co-designed with community, not by me or by individuals within our organization. And so, yeah, as I mentioned, just even creating those opportunities to talk about the program or the fund needs of community, the connections that some of those organizations have made have started to spin off into collaborations and partnerships and them working together, which is, I think, another win that we maybe didn't forecast when we started down this path, but are excited to see. And yeah, the learning opportunity to do as a whole staff and with our board is terrific because the way that the project has unfolded is we have regular check-ins as a staff as we're doing the learning. So having that safe space to have some difficult discussions and create an understanding around shared language and how to move forward has been really beneficial for us. I think everybody that works at SaskCulture has done a lot of education and continues to learn on their own, but being able to do it together and debrief is a really strong component to this project. So around those wins, I think these are the 4 highlights that I think really created the opportunity to have those wins and will help us to continue to have more wins as we move along with our implementing some of the recommendations and as we look to meet the new strategic priorities that have been set set out. Excuse me, I'm like stumbling over my words here. So, every win starts with a relationship that has clearly defined roles and responsibilities and mutual respect. And that respect just builds when you have those open, clear lines of communication, having the shared goals, our whys are the same of why we want to do this work, and ensuring that there is that continual feedback loop. We can't just extract information and never share it back with community, or what we're doing with it, or how it's helping move forward, which also ties into having that open communication, being able to have respectful dialogue when things do get hard, or perhaps it's just so important to be able to have those difficult conversations to be able to move forward. And I guess this is sort of my final slide. We'll continue to learn. I know that as we're going through this process, we'll still encounter challenges. I'd like to say we might fail forward, because if we might fail, but at least we're moving forward and we'll learn from it and grow from it. And some of the things that I think has created the tension in the past is that some of our funding programs really have not changed for over a decade. Like, we'll make small tweaks, but we haven't really looked at it from a deeper systemic issue. And we're finally doing that now. And because we weren't looking at that, we definitely do have some broken trust out there in community, especially among some of the groups that just don't see themselves with an access point into our funding. So the disability cultures, the 2S LGBTQIA cultures. So we're needing to do some repair and some relationship building to regain that trust and to be able to move forward. But yeah, so what we changed is we have been listening, and we've been hearing the hard things, and we've been willing to share that, yeah, we haven't been perfect and we need to do some things in a better way. And we're excited to work with the community to co-create things as we move forward. And that is all I have to share. I will share a link to our funding renewal research pieces and consultation reports and that to our website if anybody wants to take a look at that. And then, just as Charles said, if you're looking at any of our funding programs, number one is reach out to the outreach consultants that are assigned to those programs, and you can find that all on our website. And yeah, we're here to help, and we love to chat about what you're doing and find the best fit for you.
This is amazing. Thank you so much, Tara, for your presentation, and thanks to Charles. So I think that both of you, I think this is the first presentation that we're gonna have two funders. It's always been companies, I believe. So really appreciate the opportunity. Just want to bring both of you up, and I want to kind of start from where you where you ended your presentation, Tara. So I would like maybe Charles also speak to the strategic direction, because I think that as much as these funding programs are there, the strategic direction would help the artists who are interested in engaging with the programs that you offer. So Charles, I'll pass it on to you a little bit, just 1 minute, and then I would say that if there are questions at this point, you want to have questions, please raise your hand or put it in the chat. So Charles, just before I engage you and Tara, any thoughts about your strategic plan and how that might connect? So I know that you were emphasizing economic impact, commercial intent, revenue generation, and the fact that largely the focus of all that you do is really around creative entrepreneurs. Do you want to speak to that, connecting to your strategic plan and what that looks like?
Yeah, strategic plan. Our strategic plan from 2023, I joined Creative Saskatchewan in 2023, and luckily for me, we had a strategic plan strategy from then for 2023 to 2028, and there are uh, 4 goals that we are looking at achieving by 2028. Now, some of those One, the first is that Creative Saskatchewan tends to grow, that we grow Saskatchewan economy by investing in creative entrepreneurs as a first goal that we want to achieve. And the second is that um, Creative Saskatchewan is globally recognized for facilitating success in its creative industries. And the third goal is that Creative Saskatchewan embraces and delivers exceptional services. And the last one, it's that Creative Saskatchewan is vital to the Saskatchewan's success story. Now, under these four key goals, we have lots of other minor goals that we intend to achieve and with timelines to do that. But the one I want to focus more on, a little bit more on, it's the goal C, which is that Creative Saskatchewan embraces and delivers exceptional services. So under this, we also started working more on our diversity, equity, and inclusion and um, accessibility plans. And we developed another 4 years idea strategic plan for the organization, which I happen to be part of the team that is working on that. And the goals that we have for that is the first goal is that Creative Saskatchewan has the internal capacity to support diversity and navigate change. And so we are currently working on making sure that we have representation from each department at Creative Saskatchewan on the idea committee to make sure that it's the informations that we're sharing and that we're working on, it's from cuts across the different sectors or the different departments in our organization. And also on that goal one, we also have a member of the idea committee. We keep working with the board and the communities that we serve to make sure that there is an ongoing consultation as we keep working on this strategic plan. And we've done a couple of trainings, a lot of them, honestly, between 2023 and last year. And it's still ongoing. So we're trying to make sure that our organization is a lot more inclusive and also, especially with not just internally as an organization, but also with how we work and how we work with the communities and the people that we work with, the artists that we work with, and associations that we work with. And the goal too, it's that Creative Saskatchewan is recognized as an idea ally and provides example of best practices. Now, this is something we strongly hold dear to in our organization. We try so much to make sure that our programs are very, very, accessible and inclusive. And part of that is that we have an ongoing consultation that we're working with Jane Ting. Jane Ting Zhao, I don't know if anybody knows them, but she's a huge, she's a huge and idea strategist and has been part of our strategic plan for our idea committee. And currently she's working through all our programs that we offer to make sure that those programs are accessible and also that they are inclusive of all the communities that we tend to support. And that there are other things over the years that we've also have started adding to our programs, like the equity and diversity points, bonus points that we have on our programs. And we're also trying to every year to, look at how these points have been able to help with, trying to meet the target that we set for them and review them constantly to make sure that it's working.
Just,
And I'm going to,
I know, sorry to cut you. I know that we have 8 minutes. Or just if you can round up.
okay,
I want to come back to Tara too, because both
yeah,
of you kind of, we were talking about equity. I think READY is the acronym from SaskCulture. There's a sort of similarity there that I want to come back to Tara too. So Charles, let me allow you finish what your thought, and I'll come to Tara.
Okay, I'll just mention the goals then. And then the goal 3 is that Creative Saskatchewan supports creative entrepreneurs from diverse communities to contribute to the growth of Saskatchewan economy. And the last, it's that oh yeah, that's the last goal. Sorry, that Creative Saskatchewan supports creative entrepreneurs from diverse communities to contribute to the growth of Saskatchewan economy. So all around, what we're trying to do is to ensure that our programs are accessible to everybody and anybody within the Saskatchewan community, irrespective of, you know, who you are, your color, your identity, or anything. That we make sure that we're supporting every person to access our program and help them grow economically, obviously, with their arts.
Yeah. Thanks, Charles. So, Tara, I know that you did. You talked about the participatory fund grant making process, and at some point, I had to come in. I think it was from Sask Arts perspective. I came in, did some couple of things, and all of that. I wanted you to speak to that piece around the ready principle that you've kind of adopted, and I know that Charles, you've kind of spoken to that within your strat plan, and how might artists need to start thinking about that as they now engage with your reimagined programs. Again, thank you for acknowledging the histories of the past and the ongoing changes that are happening. But how might the artists really reimagine, work, engage with these principles as they engage with your reimagined programs? And apologies for the noise behind me. There's a dance competition happening in
Yeah,
school, so that's hence the noise. So I'll leave it at that. I'll pass it to
no
you, Tara.
worries. You might hear my dogs here in the background too. But I guess there's a few different points. One, we for the most part fund organizations versus individual artists. And with that, I guess there's a couple of different points to it. Because one, will have funding programs that are targeted to directly support those equity denied communities for them to do the work that they uh, want to do from an arts, culture, heritage standpoint. And then additionally, within our funding programs, also embedding that expectation that programs should be looking at truth and reconciliation, equity, diversity, accessibility, like how are they being welcoming and inclusive to all peoples to participate in the work that they're doing or engage with the work they're doing. And I think that'll be incremental depending on the program and who the applicant is and how it's being supported. Little ways that's been implemented over the past few years. For example, with the Indigenous Arts and Cultural Leadership Fund, there's specific questions around trauma that you are taking within the program. So looking at some of those questions are integrated within the applications is, how are you addressing those different pieces within the museum grant program? And I know that this is theater more than museum, but just as an example, recognizing that for the most part, museums have upheld the settler colonial story. And as we're working with museums to move forward and move beyond that context, there's questions in that application that focus on Indigenous objects and materials, what they're doing to be welcoming and inclusive spaces for other individuals, as well as helping them towards that repatriation route. So acknowledging what they have in their museum and sharing that with the Museum Association of Saskatchewan so that there'll be a readily available database for First Nation communities to look at and understand what artifacts and items are in the possession of museums that they might be looking to reclaim. So there'll be a bit of a different approach depending on the funding program and what outcomes and what we're trying to answer and help advance within the province. But it'll all be laid out in the guidelines. And again, as one of the outreach consultants or the people overseeing the grants, we have no say in the end funding. We're not part of the assessment process, and we're here 100% to support the applicant. So I know some people are nervous to phone and chat with the outreach consultant because they think that it could maybe impact how their application is seen, but it's completely the opposite. Like we're here to help you put your best foot forward and to ensure that you understand what we're looking for. And it's also the best way for us to understand if we're missing the mark and need to make some adjustments and tweaks to the program as we move forward too.
But thanks, Tara. Part of our own role as a center, and I always say this all the time, is that even though we're situated within the university, it also gives us an interesting lens to really gather and bring people together to kind of explore different things and know what is happening in the sector to strengthen the sector. I know we have 2 more minutes. Let's come back to Charles to have your final thoughts before we leave. As a program advisor, what are your thoughts? What would you want to offer? I know you fund artists, unlike SaskCulture, that funds organization, Creative Sask. You fund artists and of course organizations and all that. What are your thoughts that you want to your tips do you want to give to art to folks that might want to engage and apply into your program in 30 seconds? And I'll come to Tara to do the same thing.
Okay, in 30 seconds, all I will have to say is reach out. Don't ever think that your project might not, make the cuts. Reach out. Let's talk about it. We are always happy to support, to talk about your programs or your projects, and see how it fits into our mandate. Provided you're selling tickets, we can support it. Just reach out. That's all, and we're always happy to chat with you.
Thanks, Charles. Tara, 30 seconds. Starts
Same.
now.
I
love
would
what
say
you said.
the other benefit with reaching out is whether it's Sask Arts, Creative Sask, or ourselves, we also try and understand what the funding landscape is like. So if you reach to us and we're not the right place for you, we will try to direct you to the right place.
That's right.
So I think anytime you reach out to any of the organizations, we'll try and help you, even if it's not the right fit for us.
Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate the opportunity. And one thing I love about the province is that the three big funders, both of you are here, and of course Sask Arts, you kind of work together in some shape or form. So which really helps whoever that wants to apply and lead them in the right direction. I can't see any question here, and it's 1:00. We want to say thank you for coming. Our next. I think the next dialogue is happening next month, at May 29th with On Cue Performance. It's happening online. And that will be the close of season 1 of Creative Dialogue. We're going to start again, I believe, in September, Tara. Is that correct? Yeah. We're planning on starting another series in September to kind of feature. Our goal is to bring more, to continue that conversation, to bring the sector together. Again, like I said, no hidden agenda, as a space to just kind of keep exploring things together. Thank you so much, Charles. Thank you, Tara, for being here. And thank you to all our audience for participating. Our participant, thank you for being here. And thanks to the center, and of course to the other Tara Eldred, for helping us organize all of this. My name is Taiwo, and then nice chatting with you again. See you next month. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
You have been listening to Global Voices, the official podcast of the Center for Socially Engaged Theatre at the University of Regina. For more details about the center, visit www.cset.ca.